B1 brothers and sisters, welcome to Black Logic. So this evening we'll be talking about Black domination in the form of Christianity. And I think you guys may take something from this. This is not to have you to waver in your faith. This is not to have you break away from your faith or even doubt your faith. But I think context will help you guys understand where I'm going with this. Now, let me know if you can't hear me. I'll switch to my other one here. Let's see. B1 to everyone who's joined me here today. But yeah, there's some things I definitely want to talk about when it comes to this, because I think it leads into a much broader topic. It leads into a much broader way of thinking and way that Black folks move in America. Because during slavery, white slave masters used to enforce Christianity onto their slaves as a means of control. And the Bible was used to justify the institution of slavery with scriptures like Ephesians 6:5, chapter 6, verse 5. And they have twisted to make sure slaves obedient to their masters. Okay? Now, this form of indoctrination not only strips away from the culture and spirituality belief of at the time those African slaves, but also ingrained in them the idea of submission to authority. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me? And ingrained in them the idea of submission to authority. So as we fast forward to present day, especially when we're talking about politics, we can see how historical indoctrination still plays a powerful role. Black Americans, many of whom have a deep-rooted belief in the Christian God because of their ancestors' forced conversion. Listen, and family, if you notice, I'm not saying that Jesus Christ, Jesus of Nazareth, I'm not saying Muhammad, I'm not saying any God is not real or real. Stay with me, because some people, how they saw the troll in the comment section. But their beliefs are deeply rooted in the Christian God because of their ancestors' forced conversion to that religion, to that belief system. And what happens? That belief system is then targeted by politicians who manipulate their religious beliefs for political gain. See, it happened before in history, but it's been very consistent ever since Obama. You guys notice that? Now, for decades, politicians have used the link between Black people and Christianity to garner votes and to maintain position of power. They make promises to protect the so-called Christian values, even while passing laws and legislation that harm the very communities that they claim to represent. And yeah, family, you'll have people who will state that America is just not a Christian company, but is a country according to the Constitution for everyone to be free. But we understand that the very fabric of America was built on Christian values, on Christian principles, on Christian standards. Are you with me? Maybe people are not understanding that. And I get it. It's hard to shift a belief system that has been indoctrinated from the exception of those people on this land, because it's been so very long, generation, decade after decade of the same indoctrination being fortified, being being reforced, that belief system over and over again, from the war on drugs to voter suppression, from the war on drugs to voter suppression laws. The indoctrination of Christianity among Black Americans have been weaponized by those in power to maintain control and suppress us. And this is why educating ourselves is so damn important, and understand history and understand how history still affects us today. I think that's the difficult part, family. That's the difficult part for a lot of people. To shift that belief system that was so ingrained, it was so ingrained for a very long time. And everyone is now fighting on who's God? What's the origin of God? Where did God come from? The concept of God. What dimension is God in? What realm is God in? What role does God have with the pineal gland? Whatever. What chakra does God operate on? So on and so forth. And these are the issues that we run into time and time again that shifts the way we think present day, not understanding the underlying fabric of one's psychology connected to their spirituality. Connected to their spirituality. We don't even know that we're talking about domination. And not that blacks dominate, that blacks are being dominated by the very belief system they believe is their savior. Again, I'm not saying it's not real. Here's my disclaimer, family. Do I need to do it? Do I need to do it? I probably need to do it. So let me just let everybody know. Let everybody know before people get outside their seats. I'm going to take you guys someplace we've never been before tonight. Which is very, very important, I believe. Okay? So let me do this very quickly. Domination. The exercise of control or influence over someone or something or the state of being so controlled. The question, are foundational Black Americans being controlled by religion? Is foundational Black Americans being controlled by spirituality in the form of religion? And to top it off all, when we talk about Christianity. Yeah. We understand that we got Black Americans who are Buddhists, Black Americans who are Muslim. But there's a great majority of us who claim to be Black American. There's a great majority of us that claim to be Christian. So we have to take this all into a toll to understand the very mindset and the things that we do and why we do them. Why do we do them? Why do we do them? That's the question I have, family. Why do we make these decisions that go against our very survival? Why do we make decisions that go against our very survival? Those are the questions I'm asking. That's the answer I want you guys to come to. Next, when we start getting into politics and the connection and the psychology of it all, the very basis of it all, I want you guys to stay with me this evening. We're not going too deep, family. We're not going too deep. This is a teensy bit. A teensy bit. That's it. And I'm not going to slow walk it too much, but I just want to get to the root of the matter. Okay? So here we go. It says, because of Black Americans made up approximately 4/5 of the Republican Party in 1898, the alliance between populists and Republicans be traced back to Black power. The Republican Party has the Negro on its hands, and it has to pay some respect to his wishes. The Republican Party has the Negro on its hands, and it has to pay some respect to his wishes. The Democrats explain this. Furthermore, to hold the Negro solid, the party must give him local offices in the counties and towns where he is numerous: Chicago, New York, Jim Clyburn, Mayor Adams, Mayor Johnson, Karen Bass out in California. Listen, if the party gives him these local offices, then bad government must follow. Then bad government must follow. Look at the infrastructure of those towns. Look at the brutalizing and policing in those towns. Look at the homelessness in that town. Look at the salary of the Foundation of Black Americans in that town. This is what the Democrats told the Republicans. And this is in the 1900s, in the 19th century, essentially, 1898. It goes on to state that the Democrats were not only concerned with black office holders, however, white political officers who ascended to power on the fusionist ticket also did so because of the black vote. This is how powerful the black vote has been for a very long time, family. But because the country is being flooded with illegal immigration, the black vote next election may be null and void, because don't forget, they're coming in illegally, but they're fast tracking them to citizenship. Because believe it or not, family, a lot of the people that come illegally into the country, believe it or not, whether it be south of the border or from Asia, they come, some, not all, some come with a white supremacist ideology. We're going to tie it back all into religion, family. Don't get lost. I'm just giving you the meat and potatoes here. It says, this too constituted a form of Negro domination. Many of the political cartoons in the Democratic owned and operated newspaper, the Raleigh News and Observer, demonstrated the Democratic imaging of fusionism. In one such cartoon, Governor Daniel Russell is depicted as being upheld by the black American vote and thus to be under black control. This is what you call a duplicitous and demonic mindset, to believe that one has control over the black vote, but at the same time being subjugated under the very same people that voted you in and not render resources, assistance, and support. And then it states in another rather explicit cartoon, a black man is depicted as a vampire demonically hovering over North Carolina and upheld by fusionist tickets, demonstrating the threat of Negro domination was brought to realization by fusionism. Not my words, family, their words. You with me? Are you guys still with me? Did I lose anybody with that? Hopefully I didn't lose anybody with that. Okay? Let's move on here. Let's move on here. Okay? Next, I want to show you the link here. I want to show you the link here to the Black Church, okay? Now, this is coming from pbs.org, reputable website here, and it says the Black Church. Now, before we get on the Black Church as a whole, because this is the question I want to raise to you guys. Have black churches made a mistake by endorsing political candidates? Now, there's nothing in the fabric or the bedrock, the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, the Code of Conduct, okay, the Bill of Rights in America that has a clear line, a clear derivative to state that state and church should be separated. So if that's the case, then let's pose a question. Have black churches made a mistake by endorsing Democratic political candidates over and over again, by allowing politics inside the church? Because many black churches have historically been involved in political activism. That's what some people may argue. And that they advocate for social justice and civil rights and all those other things. But advocating and promoting and allowing certain political figures to speak in front of the black congregation, in front of black folk, so they can pander and propagandize them in order to coerce them to garnish their vote. That's the question. That's the question, family. Now, I wonder if some of these black churches are reevaluating their position on the candidates that they promoted, on the candidates that they have supported. Because churches, they need to stay true to their values without aligning themselves with potentially divisive political figures, whoever they may be, whether it be Joe Biden or Donald Trump, whether it be the political figures or the state figures. Because the role of black church in politics, the role of black churches in politics is a very complex issue with no really easy answer. Should they even be involved in politics? Should your spirituality be mixed in with your social views? Or is that already a contradiction within itself? I'm just asking. Because I believe it's up to each individual congregation to decide how they will want to engage with the political process, keeping in mind the potential impact on their community. Or is that the right way to go? I don't know. Because I think the questions that I may have is, when we talk about the black church, we talk about the origins of the black church. We talk about the origins of the black church. Can you guys see this? Let me blow it up. And I'm going to do a little bit of reading here, family. I'm going to just do a little bit of reading. Stay with me. New historical evidence documents the arrival of slaves in the English settlement in Jamestown, Virginia, 1619. Want to stand the foundation of black Americans. Date our existence here with the amalgamation and mixture of the native blacks that were already here, as well as those that came over on slave ship back in 1526. I carry on. They came from the kingdoms of Nangdam and Gongo in the present-day Angola and coastal Congo. In the 1500s, the Portuguese conquered both kingdoms and carried Catholicism to West Africa. It is likely that the slaves who arrived in Jamestown had been baptized Catholic and the Christian name. And for the next 200 years, the slave trade exposed slaves from Angola, Ghana, Senegal, and other parts of West Africa to America's South. Here they provided the they provided the hard manual labor that supported the South's biggest crops, cotton and tobacco, sugar, and Indiegogo. I'll add those two as well. In the South, it states that ministers sponsored by the Society for the Propagation of Gospel, founded in England, made earnest attempts to teach Christianity by rote memorization. They made earnest attempts to teach Christianity. It states that the approach had little appeal. Some white owners allowed the enslaved to worship in white churches. This is to jumpstart the indoctrination. This is to control people on a very psychological level. You guys understand what I'm stating? All this racism, but they will allow you, okay? They will allow you to go to white churches. I want you guys to really understand that. All of a sudden, they're going to allow us to go to white churches. Okay. And it states they allowed them to worship in white churches where they were segregated in the back of the building or in the balconies. Occasionally, persons of African descent might hear a special sermon from white preachers, but these sermons tended to stress obedience and duty. And the message of the Apostle Paul, slaves, obey your master. Slaves, obey your masters. What are they getting this from? You guys see a connect or a correlation? Does anyone? I think a lot of times we may have to jog people's memory.
Listen, you got to come see us when you come to New York, VP Biden.
I will.
It's a long way until November. We got more questions.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
It don't have.
Oh yeah, we're not gonna let it die, family. We're not gonna let it die. Both Methodists and Baptists made active efforts to convert enslaved Africans to Christianity. What? What'd he say? What did Black Logic say? Both Methodists and Baptists made active efforts to convert enslaved Africans to Christianity. The Methodists also licensed black men to preach.
I would have been swallowed up. Have you ever been swallowed up? Have you gone through a time of swallowing where everything was overwhelmed?
Look at your neighbor and say, he's a meat stretcher. He'll stretch your meat.
The Methodists also licensed black men to preach. During the 1770s and 1780s, black ministers began to preach to their own people, drawing on the stories, people, and events depicted in the Old and New Testament. No story spoke more powerful to slaves than the story of Exodus. Here we go. Now I want you to start thinking about Obama, about hope and all these things. And I want you to look at the contradiction of hope, according to Dick Gregory, about what hope can do for you. You can't eat hope. Hope doesn't motivate you. You guys need to look up Dick Gregory's take on hope. Some people are like, nah, man, you need hope. What else do you need? But it goes on to state that no story spoke more powerfully to slaves than the story of Exodus, with its themes of bondage and liberation brought by a righteous and powerful God who will one day set them free. That one day will set them free. Okay. Let's go there. We can go there, family. Faith among Black Americans. Most Black worshippers attend predominantly Black congregations see a role for religion in fighting racial injustice, but generation patterns are changing. It states here that basically segregation was the law of the land. Black churches and later mosques served as important spaces for racial solidarity and civic activity, and faith more broadly was a source of hope and inspiration. It was a source of hope and inspiration. Hope and inspiration. Hope that you can believe in. Hope that you can change. Some of the Obama quotes. Today, most Black adults say they rely on prayer to help make major decisions and view opposing racism as essential to their religious faith. I know a lot of people who deal within the spirit, people who are very spiritual, they're not going to like this. But here's a question. Should you make decisions based upon the spirit, or should you make your decisions based off metrics and data, especially when it comes to finances, especially when it comes to calculated risk? I know. Don't beat me up, family. Oh, you should follow the spirit, because the spirit, it goes outside the understanding of numbers and math and the universe. Okay. I know what some people are going to say. I think I have one more highlighted down here that I want to point out. Give me a second. It's a long article I had to read to get 2 bits of information. Oh, there it is. Okay. Political partnership. Most Black Americans, 84% are Democrats, or they lean towards the Democratic Party. Just 10% say they are Republicans or lean towards Republicans. Okay. We just developing baselines, family. I see some of your comments over here. Got a lot of people in the room. We got Affectionate Earth. We got Royalty, Jermaine Anderson. We have Leonard, I'm just gonna call you Leonard, Miles Apart. We got my DSB brother in the house. Thank you for that donation, brother. I do appreciate that. Gave me a super sticker. I appreciate that. Miles apart. Another super sticker. I appreciate that as well. Hey, y'all gonna have me feel like Umar Johnson. Donations. I love donations. I don't really, if you notice, I don't really ask for nothing. I'm just here to give you guys a good information and speak dialogue and conversation and perspectives. Okay? Roy, you see, say I'm bringing that heat. I'm sweating too. Somebody need to turn on the fan in here. You know I'm a fool. Let me stay on topic, family. Let me stay on topic. All right, here we go. Lord, it's hot in here. I think the devil's coming for me, goddamn shit. And then we talk about these political officials, right? I want to point out, and I know I have Joe Biden on the screen here, but let's talk about Barack Obama, because as the first so-called Black American president of the United States, Barack Obama visited to Black churches were pivotal in rallying support within the Black community, right? During the historical presidential campaigns in 2008 and 2012, he made these very notable visits to Ebenezer Baptist Church. That one, I think, was in Harlem, in New York. Ebenezer Baptist Church in Georgia. And then when Hillary Clinton, and the reason why I'm starting with Obama, because I was really trying to look for and research, not saying that it doesn't exist, for George Bush, for Ronald Reagan, for Jimmy Carter, for other presidents prior, Bill Clinton, of them visiting Black churches. And I just saw a consistent trend from Obama, because Hillary Clinton, during her 2016 presidential campaign, right, she made these strategic visits to Black churches and Black places. I remember she was on the Breakfast Club and she was touting how she carries hot sauce in her purse. Have you noticed, family, when these politicians come knocking at the door of Black America for our vote, they come with all this very degrading symbolism, all this degrading symbolic tropes of racism. Oh, I know Black people like hot sauce, so I'll always keep hot sauce in my purse. Then you had Kamala Harris all of a sudden talking about 50 Cent and Cardi B and wearing Chuck Taylor. You see what I'm saying? They do these really small, degrading gestures of symbolic racism to connect with Black people. This like Donald Trump, he's doing the whole golden shoe thing. He had his cronies on Fox News talking about that really relates with Black voters because they really love sneakers, and these are fine sneakers here, they're golden. I mean, they're doing all of these things. That is how powerful our vote is. 50 million, 15%. That's how powerful our vote is. And Hillary Clinton, she went to Mount Airy Church of God in Christ in Philly, and I think she went to, what was it? Union Baptist Church in North Carolina. Then, of course, you guys are familiar with Joe Biden. Okay, he went to the Bethel AME Church in Delaware, and also the Royal Missionary Baptist Church in South Carolina. And then let's not forget, when we're talking about these presidential candidates, Bernie Sanders, because both in 2016 and in 2020, Bernie Sanders, I think he visited, don't get me wrong, Brown Chapel AME in Selma, Alabama, as well as Mount Zion Baptist Church in Montgomery, Alabama. These are some of the places that these politicians have visited to garner the Black vote. Now, I'm not stating that they don't go out and visit white churches. I'm not saying that. But why is it we don't hear about it? They always meet them at the town hall, and they actually speak about policy. When they come to our forums, to our gatherings, for people who go inside the temple, who go inside the synagogue, who go inside the mosque, who go inside the church, who go inside the place of worship, who goes to the sanctuary. And those elders, those pastors, those ministers, those bishops, those holy men, allow them to take the spirit within the place of worship to speak to your spirit and have you guys have a link spiritually that now you are, I don't want to go there, family. I don't want to go there, family. I don't want people to think I'm speaking demonically, but there's a soul tie to that, is it not? There's a soul tie to that, is it not? And linking it back, what people don't understand, this is done by design. This started back in slavery, family. This is why they were perpetuating and indoctrinating our people, because they understood that it would speak volumes. That's why they had the Willie Lynch speech, when Willie Lynch spoke to the slave masters how to psychologically control their slaves. So not only did they control the spirit realm of black folk, the spirituality of black folk, the faith of black folk, but they also took control by the way of indoctrination with the Willie Lynch speech on a psychology level. So you were enslaved physically, psychologically, and spiritually. But wait, don't get mad at me because I brought it up, because some people will say regardless of that, regardless of slavery, regardless of the indoctrination under whip, chain, rape, killed, dismembered, hung, burned, they would tell you that God still exists. And I'm not attacking Christianity, family. I'm not attacking Christianity. I want to point that out very, very clearly. I'm not attacking Christianity. I just have some questions that we all may want to know. Okay? Georgia's Black Church Unite for Voter Engagement campaign. Black churches in Georgia are teaming up for the first time to mobilize black voters in the battleground state of November's presidential election. I wonder what political party are they gathering up? I wonder what political party they're going to vote for. I'm just asking because it states here that the churches whose congregations lean Democrat will have a budget between $200,000 and $500,000, according to the New York Times. What do they mean a budget of $200,000 and $500,000? But the unification comes at an integral time for President Biden, whose popularity appears to be falling among black voters. It goes on to state that black adults at 42%, through former President Trump, the leading GOP candidate, isn't faring much better with approval rating of only 25% of black adults. It goes back to 2020. Georgia were key to Biden's victory in 2020. It also helped Democrats secure control of the Senate with the 2022 election of Senator Raphael Warnock. And I think a lot of people are not seeing the connection in this. And a lot of times, because we give honor and praise and respect to our elders, especially those in the baby boomer generation, that we tend to just go along out of respect, out of duty. And then a lot of them was our ministers. A lot of them was our preachers. A lot of them was our teachers. A lot of them was the ones who interpret the Bible for us. They decoded the Bible for us. We would hear a sermon, we would hear a word, and we were like, grandma, dad or granddad, I didn't understand the word today. What was he talking about? And then he would damn near have to decode that for you and give you the message out of that word, which further indoctrinate your belief system. Because we understand that the belief that we've all had has been very generationally. It's been very generationally. Let me show you. Both Methodists and Baptists made active efforts to convert enslaved Africans, convert enslaved Africans to Christianity, to convert, to change, to indoctrinate. And they use indoctrination, Ephesians 6:5. Slaves, obey your masters. And that has permeated throughout history. It has. It has been transcended through history. It has. Black church leaders in Georgia on the importance of souls to pose. So what's the difference between a soul and a spirit? I'm just asking. Black church leaders in Georgia on the importance of souls to the polls. And what polls are supposedly going to go to and vote? And by honorable mention, I forgot about this guy. Now they won't pop it up. Let me see if I can get this up, family. Give me 1 second. This guy right here, Pete Buttigieg. Remember him? Pete Buttigieg, of course, black church leaders and Bible Belt. Everybody has come to the black church. Here's a question. And this has nothing against the LGBT community, has nothing against them. But Pete Buttigieg, if I'm not mistaken, is part of the LGBT community. Why did the black church allow him in the black Bible Belt to come to their churches? I'm just asking. I'm not insinuating. I'm just asking. Look at it. I'm just asking, family. I think some people don't want to make those connections. But here's another thing. You guys are not familiar with Donald Trump, then I'll make you familiar. Seeking Trump and evoking faith, Donald Trump visits a black church for the first time. For the first time, Donald Trump visits a black church because he knows that it worked. He knows that it has worked. It has worked. It has worked for Barack Obama. It has worked for Joe Biden. It probably worked for Bill Clinton. And he said, well, why wouldn't I use a strategy that doesn't work? Because a lot of people think that because Donald Trump is not an eloquent speaker that he's dumb. No! He's not dumb, family. I'm not saying he's intelligent. I'm saying he's devious enough to be the president of the United States of America. That's what I'm saying. He's devious enough. He's smart enough, and people saying that's not saying much. I got it. But that's my take on that. Let me move on. And I looked up presidential candidates that visit black churches for their election. A quick Google search, family. Because that's how easy it is to show how black people just flock to anyone that gives us attention. Black people just flock to anyone that gives us attention. And before, I just want to touch on this because it has to deal with numbers. I hate when we emotionally speak out and we don't know the actual information. I just hate when we emotionally speak out. 3/4 of black Americans say black churches have helped promote racial equality. 3/4 of black Americans say black churches have helped promote racial equality. Now I understand that 3/4 of black Americans are the ones that they actually gave this survey to. And probably out of those, one of the parameters is that you had to be attending a black church. But this is from a very powerful and large research center, Pew Research. I know you guys heard of them. You know, papers in high school, college, or just, roaming around the net getting information. I know you heard of Pew Research. 3/4 of black Americans say that black churches have helped promote racial equality. How? That's my question. How have it? Because instead of just saying things in news articles and not being defined, by statistics, because again, Pew Research, this is in 2021, family. Pew Research is just giving the information. This is what the people are saying. This is what the people are saying. This is what black folks saying, that it has helped racial equality. What's racial equality, family? When you say racial equality, that means that we're no longer going to be subjugated because of our race. We're no longer going to have injustice because of our race. We're no longer going to have inequality because of our race. I know people don't really like these religious conversations, but we understand that religion and politics has already combined itself by the way of politicians, by the way of money. If you don't think they're doing this for some particular reason, while they allow politicians to get up. I know all of you have been to church, especially you guys who've been to black church. Who always wanted to go up on stage? We either after church, before church, or during church. You just like wanted to go up on stage. There was some sort of presence. There was a power. There was an attraction. That you just wanted to go up on stage. You wanted to go up to what we believe the temple, okay? The spiritual temple inside the church. The altar. We all wanted to go up there for one reason or another. But when politicians come with the bag, when politicians come with money, when politicians come with promises, a lot of these black churches are now opening up the floodgates for them to get in position to coerce and manipulate black people to vote for their prospective political party. And it's been historically and presently the Democratic Party. And then it has an asinine article that states that 3/4 of black Americans say that black churches have helped promote racial equality. How? Don't worry. I got the numbers for you, family. According to the FBI investigation crime data explorer, okay, FBI.gov or Department of Justice.gov. Now, this is from the current information that they have of 2022. Hate crimes for black Americans, the bias type, anti-black or black American. 3,400 incidents, 3,400 race-related crime. Next, this is year 2021. Basically 3,300 bias type crimes towards black America. We're still at the top of the charts. Now, let me go back so I can give you some context. This was in 2021, family, and they stated that black churches have helped promote racial equality. How? The majority of the church is black. Who are you influencing? Are you influencing Asian people? Are you influencing white people, Hispanic people? I'm not understanding. And you guys can go read this article for yourself. This is from Pew Research. Okay, I was on 21? So don't forget, in 2022, we had 3,400, not 3,300. Let's move on. Let's go back. This is 2020. We have 3,500 hate crimes towards black Americans. 3,500. So I'm not understanding that Pew Research article of the 3/4 of black people who go to church stating that black churches have helped racial equality. How? How? During COVID, the hate crimes went up in black Americans. Let me move on. Let me go to another one. This is 2018. Now, of course, these numbers are much lower, but we had to fight for them to start to recognize a lot of the discrimination and bias and assaults by being called the N-word repeatedly, that these were hate crimes. So, of course, these numbers are going to be a lot lower back in 2018. But nonetheless, we're still top of the charts in 2018. I'll move on. 2010, we're still top of the charts at 2,200, more than any other group consistently. This is 2017, 2000, roughly. This 1,600, this is 1991. 1991, family. And I have a comment to address as well. Now I'm gonna read some of your comments here. I have a comment to address. I'm gonna blow this up. See if I can blow this up over here. Okay. I'm not gonna read all of this. I'm gonna read all of it. I think it's important that I read all of this. Let me just put this on your screen right here, family. This was based off a short that I did. Dustin Smith states that the misconception is that it's only a black thing, talking about police brutality. This happens to everybody every day. We need to get united on this and approach it as a police to civilian problem, not a police to black people problem. No. Why would I do that? Why would I do all lives matter? Black people for eons have been standing up for every other group except for our own. We dismantle, we dissipate, we dissolve, we denigrate our power to unify and organize and fight for our own rights. Civil rights, this wasn't for black folk. They'll say, well, you got civil rights. It wasn't just for black folk. It was for everybody. And who did it help the most? White women. Affirmative action, who did it help the most? Immigrants. So everything that we've been fighting for has been generalized and used against us, but we should all be kumbaya and join hands together. And instead of this being a black thing, it should be yes, police presence is higher in black communities, but whether you like it or not, the data is in, and without dispute, there is more murder and crime. There's more murder and crime in black communities than any other demographic in the country, bar none. The natural response to a high crime community is anti-crime response, which leads to high interaction and incarceration in said community. Now, this is just a guess, but the black community should try not being the largest crime murder community in the U.S. Now, as I said, it's just a guess, but I assume such an action might lessen the overall interaction with those who enforce the law and the overall bad experience one might befall of those interactions that exist, blah, 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 blah. Then he states maybe you can start a dialogue about this in the community, or you can just sweep this under the rug and watch it continually get worse. No one's sweeping anything under the rug. We're addressing it. Oh yeah, we're going to address it. Because he made two comments in there, which one I knew was true. Okay, which I knew that was true, but the numbers are still in on that one, okay? The numbers are still out. They haven't come in on the murder rate. Now, the statistics I'm about to show you is from the FBI table of 2019, the current information we have. And unfortunately, if I use the latest data that I can find from a reputable source, then the first part of his statement about murder is true, okay? How hard it may feel for me to say it, I like to speak the truth, family, because lies will come to bite you in the ass later on. So yeah, according to the information, I understand what he's stating, but when he said crime, wait a minute. That's when we have to start looking at the bigger picture, because now he made a broad statement that in black communities or in black America, we had the highest rate of crime in America. And that's why your neighborhoods, that's why your communities are being over-policed. Really? Oh, okay. Let's fact check it. This is coming from Crime in the United States. Latest table of 2019, okay? Not too long ago, fam. 5 years ago, not too long ago. Now, if you guys are familiar with total arrests, okay, total arrest, you have here, it says murder and non-negligent manslaughter. They have white people at 3,600 and black people at 4,000. Okay, so according to what he stated, the comment he stated, that's correct. Okay, that's correct. Then I started to look at other things. Rape, white, 11,000, blacks, 4,000. Robbery, we're up 4,000 on them. Then when it comes to aggravated assault, 170,000, I'm rounding up. Burglary, 81,000. Larceny theft, 393,000. Motor theft, 38,000. Arson, 4,000. Violent crime. Violent crime, 355,000 to 210,000. Property crime, other assaults, fraud, embezzlement. The list goes on and on. Drunkenness, disorderly conduct, vagrancy. Okay, vagrancy has been a homeless person to an extent. They got us there. Okay. And then when you look at the totals, 4,700,000 crimes compared to 1,800 crimes. 1,800,000 crimes considerably. So they're almost 3 times the crime rate of Black Americans. Am I reading this wrong? Somebody's gonna say he's reading that wrong. Somebody I think he's fudging the numbers right here in front of our face. He's a master of disguise. That's what people have been telling me in my comment section. I'm a master of disguise. Like I'm just pulling things out of my hat. No, I'm not. I'm looking at the statistics. I'm looking at the information provided by the government that we render ourselves under. That the same flag, Star Spangled Banner, even with this second to last paragraph, talking about they're gonna go out and kill slaves if you go fight with the British for your freedom and for land. Because the British gonna give slaves who were under shackles and chains freedom and land. But according to the Star Spangled Banner national anthem, if you did that, then there's nowhere safe. There's no safe haven for a slave because they're gonna kill you. That's what the Star Spangled Banner says. Woo, I'm gonna read your comments and get out of here, family. I just have, Lord, it's getting hot. It's getting hot. Let's see, I'm Israel. I haven't seen a PhD holder or Christian or rabbi debate yet. There's a lot of comments, family. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna be able to read all your comments. I see my good brother in here, Stephen Gardner. Stephen Gardner, don't put my government name in the chat, Stephen. You put my government name, Stephen Gardner. 1+ million subscribers. Don't put my government name in the chat. I'm just messing with him. He's a good guy. He's a good guy. Stephen states that Blacks and white Christians should be best friends. Not sure it's true though. Me either. Honest question. Why is it called the Black Church? Are white people allowed? See, and this is why I made the connection that in America, from the exception of people going to church and worship in Christianity, the church have always been separated by racial divide. And that's the way those white supremacist slave masters wanted it. That's why they wanted it. Until this day, again, it's kind of like, and I understand what you're getting at, Stephen, but when you have to look at it, Black people in a Black neighborhood are going to go to a church which makes the church Black. Because the majority of that population, the majority of that demographic of that area is Black. Now, you have a lot of mixed churches. I know Bishop T.D. Dake Church, Joel Osteen Church, there's a mixture of different people. But most churches are race-based because you're going to go within your community, and majority of one's community is majority of the same demographic. You're going to have some mixed communities, but for the most part, Black people live with Black people, white people live with white people, Indian people live with Indian people, Hispanic people live with Hispanic people. So you're going to have the Hispanic church, the Latino church, the white church, so on and so forth. It is what it is. But yeah, white people are allowed. They will let you right in. Unless you of course, you don't bring a gun or AR-15 because we have some bad history with allowing white people in and not patting them down, okay? Because a lot of times white people just don't pop up in a Black church. They just don't pop up in a Black church. Now, if they come with somebody, that's fine. You kind of get a pass. But we've had bad history of allowing young white men to come inside a Black church, and the next thing you know, there's a massacre. Next thing you know, there's a mass killing, and it's race-based. Gloria said that's the wrong attention. Let's see what else we got here. Mal states that the Black church has sold its soul for a few rubles. Wow. DSB, my brother, says no different in a soul and a spirit. Both are the same. The church sell hope They don't teach the Bible. Hit that thumbs up button, family. Thank you, Jermaine. Appreciate you, brother. Is this your first time on the channel? Hit that like button, share the video. Okay. Let me get to this other comment here. B says, no disrespect, but can you turn down the music a little bit? I sure can. I didn't know if it was distracting. My apologies. I can turn it down. The music get me motivated, family. That's why I only replay music. It kind of kills the echo in my head. Somebody said because you simple. That's why there's an echo in your head. Something wrong with you, boy. You got an echo in your head. Roy G says, fam, always bring receipts. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that, brother. When I look at you, remind me of Wayman Tisdale and Will Downing. Will Downing? Will Downing, Wayman. Oh, you know what? I think he clowning me. Live right here on Black Logic. That's exactly what the Star Spangled Banner says. Indeed, it does. Gloria states, I didn't feel comfortable going to a place of worship with someone who doesn't look like me. Okay. Yeah, family. Let me see what else here. Give me 1 second here. I turned down my music so my rhythm's off. But I understand the music can be distracting sometimes. By all means, you guys hear the music, please let me know. I will turn it down, okay? But there's just some other comments, and I'm gonna switch screens here, okay? I've been having problems with my sound. Please let me know if you can't hear me. Please let me know. Oh, here we go. I think I know what I'm doing, family. I think I know what I'm doing wrong. I'm always doing something wrong. Ain't that true? I think I know now. I think I'm good now. Please let me know if you can't hear me, okay? Because there's some things I want to talk about in closing remarks here that I just kind of want to do an overview. And again, you guys are going to hear a lot of repeated information here on Black Logic, and that is to really to push the message through and to keep things ever so present in our minds so we do not forget, okay? Let me know if you guys can still hear me. Give me a thumbs up in the chat if you can still hear me. Because as you guys look at the image in the background, I'm going to give you guys some context and a quick overview. Thank you, Sister Gloria. I do appreciate that. She says she enjoys my content. I appreciate that. Okay. All right. So I believe everybody can still hear me. So I'm going to continue on. If not, give me a thumbs up in the chat. Got a thumbs up in the chat, because when we start looking at things during the brutal era of the transatlantic slave trade, our ancestors were subject to unimaginable horrors at the hands of white slave masters. And what I've been receiving in a clip, and I won't show that particular clip, but it was talking about reparations. And I kept hearing, I kept seeing, I kept reading the same comment over and over again. They wanted to know who sold us into slavery. And I said it doesn't matter. Now, a lot of those African countries or African kingdoms or empires, they no longer exist. So there's no country, there's no nation to go back and fight for reparations from. But America, the ones who bought us, the ones who enslaved the native Black Americans who were already here prior to those coming over on ships, okay, because we're a mixture of the two. They're the one who enslaved us and had us to build the most powerful country in the world for free. So that's why that's important. And during this slavery time period, white slave masters strategically used Christianity as a tool to subjugate and control their slaves. It was a way of control. Now, for some people, don't get me wrong, family, a lot of you find yourselves free in God. You find yourself free in the blood of Jesus Christ, your salvation, your Lord and Savior. I get it. Jehovah Jireh, you'll provide. I get it. I got it. I understand. But I'm just telling you what occurred, factual. White slave masters strategically used Christianity as a tool to subjugate their slaves and to control them, preaching passages like Ephesians chapter 6, verse 5, slaves, obey your earthly masters with respect and fear and with sincerity of heart, just as you would obey Christ. Your earthly masters, those ones who have you under shackles, under chains. So the very same spirituality, the very same doctrine that slaves were looking in Exodus to be a free people, to get themselves out of bondage, was being contradicted by the slave master preaching Ephesians 6 and 5, which allowed them of the covenant of that verse, the covenant of that scripture, to do anything to that slave that they wanted to have slaves fight one another to the death, to have the sons of slaves have sex with the mother of slaves to make more slaves, for them to go into their bedrooms at night, even though they're married, to sleep with them and rape them, from the young to the old. Oh, we don't want to talk about that. No. Black Logic, don't go there. All the while preaching Christianity, which we did not know until two things. One, when the missionaries went to Africa by the way of the Pope, starting really in the 1500s. And don't forget, that time during Europe, if you didn't believe in Christianity, like the so-called Vikings, which is not a people, but they turned into a people, but it's more of an action or an era of people from certain countries like Sweden and Netherlands, some Dutch here and there. Well, Netherlands is Dutch, but you have some Irish Vikings as well, who believe in a different belief system, but some part of the first holy wars. You guys know the Knights of Templars and all them stories? Yeah. But this is how all these things are connected in some way or form, which brings us to present day of how we are still subjugated of the indoctrination of generations past of how we vote, because they know where to come. They know where to come to pander the votes. They understand that our belief system is deeply rooted in Christianity for the majority of Black Americans. Because we've seen time and time again from politicians invoking God's name on the campaign trail to pass discriminatory legislation under the guise of religious freedoms. We've seen it. We've seen certain laws, okay, that so-called religious freedom laws that allow businesses to discriminate against LGBTQ individuals. These laws are often supported by politicians who claim to uphold Christian values, further perpetuating a cycle of oppression. And then they will back it up with scripture stating how God never accepted homosexuality. But the duplicity and the contradiction of that is now we're starting to have LGBTQ churches and using the Bible as the foundation of its belief system. Uh-oh. We have to educate ourselves, family. We have to educate ourselves in a very dramatic way. Because in some regards, some of us need to break free from the chains of religious indoctrinations and reclaim the power of a free-thinking mind. Because when you're under an indoctrination, when you're under a brainwashing, you're not thinking for yourself. You're not thinking for the betterment of yourself. You're not thinking about the betterment of your people. You're not. Because you're under an indoctrination. And here's the thing about indoctrination. Here's the things about indoctrination, family. Here's the thing about indoctrination. You're living in a constant delusion, and you're being delusional about delusionary things. But you're stuck in your delusion. Some people may call it the matrix. Some people call it the bubble. Some people call it different dimensions, but you are stuck in a belief system that is part of that so-called generational curse that has been transcended and passed down and perpetuated by your family, by your community, by your people. Is that true? Oh, that was a question. So you don't believe I'm going one way or another. That was a question. I just want to know. Because I think on some accords, it's time to recognize the manipulation behind the link between Christianity and Black Americans and to demand, we won't do that, accountability for those in power. Because at the end of the day, our answers is for our freedom of choice. Because what you'll get is some people like, well, we have to vote for somebody. I'm gonna pick the lesser of two evils. Well, we need to pick the third party, the Green Party. I'm gonna vote for this person. I'm gonna vote for that person. I'm gonna be on the couch watching the game, having some knickknacks and yoo-hoos and some chip snacks. That's what I'm gonna have. That's what I'm gonna have, family. That's my piece. That's my piece on it. Royalty says, according to the Bible, it was a different race of Black people, Hebrew and Hamite. I'm trying to tell you, listen, family. I know a lot of you guys are intelligent. I know a lot of you guys have a lot of information, especially all the derivatives, all the different sects and sections of religion and spirituality, and the historical reference and where it's tied to and where it come from. I get it. We're the 144,000 tribes of Judah. We're this. We're Israelites. We're Jews. We're this. We're that. We're Muslims. We're Arabs came from us. Whatever. I don't think I'm stating in this whole broadcast is do not allow the political system to infiltrate your place of worship so they can manipulate the people in that congregation for their own political power. For their own political power. Be one.